Welcome to Fairy Tales English Journey. Today we have a wonderful story for you. It is about a proud teapot who learns a very important lesson. Have you ever felt broken or lost? Sometimes breaking leads to a beautiful new beginning. Let us start our magical journey and practice our English together. In a cozy kitchen filled with shiny pots and pans, there lived a very special teapot. This teapot was made of fine porcelain. It had a long, elegant spout and a sturdy, curved handle. The teapot loved to boast about its beauty. It felt it was the most important item in the entire room. The other kitchen tools listened to the teapot every day. The cups and saucers were quiet and polite. The heavy iron pots just sighed. The teapot did not care about their feelings. It only cared about its own smooth surface and delicate painted flowers. It believed nothing could ever match its perfect grace and style. "I am the queen of the tea table," the teapot declared loudly. "The cups are small and the sugar bowl is plain. But I am tall and magnificent. I hold the warm and comforting tea. Without me, the afternoon tea party would be nothing." The teapot smiled proudly as the sun shone on its lid. The teapot was right about one thing. It was indeed the center of attention during tea time. The maid would carefully fill it with hot water and fragrant tea leaves. The rich aroma would fill the dining room. The teapot felt so proud when the guests admired its beautiful painted flowers and elegant shape. However, the teapot had a secret flaw. Its lid was chipped and slightly broken. The teapot never talked about the lid. It only talked about its perfect handle and its perfect spout. It thought that if it talked enough about its good parts, no one would ever notice the small chip on its lid. "We all have flaws," the old iron pot grumbled one evening. "You should not be so proud." But the teapot just laughed. "A tiny chip does not matter," it replied. "I pour the tea and I bring joy to the wealthy guests. You are just an ugly pot used for boiling plain potatoes." One beautiful spring afternoon, a grand tea party was happening in the dining room. Many rich guests were sitting around the large wooden table. The maid carried the proud teapot on a silver tray. The teapot felt incredibly important. It stood tall and waited for the guests to praise its lovely porcelain flowers. A wealthy lady reached out to pour herself a cup of tea. She held the delicate handle with her soft hands. The teapot puffed out its chest with immense pride. But then a terrible accident happened. The lady accidentally bumped the teapot against a heavy brass candlestick. The teapot slipped from her hands. The teapot fell through the air. It felt a sudden rush of wind. Then it hit the hard wooden floor with a loud crash. The hot tea spilled everywhere. The beautiful porcelain shattered into several pieces. The teapot felt a sharp pain in its handle and its spout. It was a complete disaster. "Oh dear!" the wealthy lady cried out in shock. "The beautiful teapot is broken." The maid quickly brought a cloth to clean up the spilled tea. She gathered the broken pieces of porcelain. The teapot felt so ashamed. Its perfect spout was broken off. Its elegant handle was cracked. Its pride was completely shattered. The maid placed the broken teapot in a dark corner of the kitchen. The other pots and pans looked at it with pity. The teapot could not speak. It felt useless and ugly. It remembered how it used to boast about its beauty. Now it was just a pile of broken porcelain pieces. Days turned into weeks. The broken teapot sat in the dark corner collecting dust. It watched the maid bring a new shiny teapot into the kitchen. The new teapot was silver and very plain, but it poured the tea perfectly. The broken teapot felt a deep sadness in its shattered porcelain heart. "I am nothing now," the teapot thought to itself. "I cannot hold tea. I cannot pour water. I am no longer the queen of the tea table. I am just garbage waiting to be thrown away." The teapot wished it had been kinder to the other kitchen tools when it was whole and beautiful. One morning, the lady of the house walked into the kitchen. She saw the broken teapot in the corner. She picked up the pieces carefully. "This porcelain is still very beautiful," she said softly. "The painted flowers are too lovely to throw away. I think I can find a new use for this teapot." The teapot felt a small spark of hope. What could the lady possibly do with a broken teapot? The lady carried the pieces out to the sunny garden. The garden was filled with bright flowers and green plants. The teapot had never been outside before. The fresh air felt wonderful on its porcelain. The lady brought some rich, dark soil. She carefully filled the broken body of the teapot with the soil. Then she took a tiny green plant with soft leaves. She gently placed the plant into the soil inside the teapot. The teapot felt the cool earth and the tickle of the little roots. The teapot was confused but also very happy. It was no longer holding hot water and tea leaves. It was holding actual life. The lady patted the soil and watered the tiny plant. "There," she said with a warm smile. "You make a perfect little flower pot. You are beautiful in a new way." The teapot sat on a wooden bench in the bright garden. The sun warmed its porcelain sides. The tiny plant drank the water and stretched its green leaves toward the light. The teapot felt a new kind of pride. It was not a boastful pride. It was a quiet and peaceful feeling of purpose. The other garden pots welcomed the teapot. They were made of rough clay and stone. They were not shiny or elegant, but they were kind and friendly. "Welcome to the garden," the large clay pot said. "We are glad you are here. You hold a very special little plant. Take good care of it." "I will," the teapot replied humbly. "I will protect its roots and keep the soil moist." The teapot no longer cared about its broken spout or its cracked handle. It only cared about the little green plant growing inside it. The teapot had found a brand new job and it loved its new life. Weeks passed, and the tiny plant grew bigger and stronger. It produced beautiful purple flowers. The flowers smelled sweeter than any tea the teapot had ever held. The bees and butterflies visited the purple flowers every single day. The teapot felt like it was part of a wonderful and magical natural world. Sometimes the teapot thought about its past life in the kitchen. It remembered the shiny silver tray and the wealthy guests. It remembered how proud and arrogant it used to be. But it did not miss that life at all. The garden was so much better. The garden was full of real living things. The teapot realized that breaking was not the end of its life. Breaking was actually the beginning of something much better. If it had never broken, it would still be a proud and foolish teapot. It would still be hiding its chipped lid. Now it was honest and useful and truly loved by nature. One day, a little girl came into the garden. She was the daughter of the wealthy lady. She saw the broken teapot with the beautiful purple flowers. "Oh, Mommy, look," she pointed. "That is the prettiest flower pot in the whole garden." The teapot felt a warm glow of happiness deep inside its soil. The mother smiled and nodded warmly. "Yes, it is very pretty," she agreed. "Sometimes things that are broken can become the most beautiful things of all. They just need a little bit of love and a new purpose." The teapot listened to these wise words and knew they were completely true. The teapot lived in the garden for many years. The purple flowers bloomed every spring and summer. The rough clay pots remained its good friends. The teapot never boasted again. It just sat quietly in the sun doing its job. It held the soil and protected the roots with all its remaining strength. Winter came and the garden was covered in soft white snow. The purple flowers went to sleep. The teapot felt very cold, but it did not complain. It knew that spring would always return. It waited patiently under the blanket of snow. It dreamed of the warm sun and the buzzing bees. When spring finally arrived, the snow melted away. The tiny green shoots pushed through the dark soil once again. The teapot felt the familiar tickle of the growing roots. It welcomed the new season with a joyful heart. The cycle of life continued and the teapot was proud to be a part of it. Through the years, the teapot slowly lost more of its porcelain. A harsh winter storm chipped away another piece of its rim. But the teapot did not mind. The soil and the plant roots held its broken body together. The teapot and the plant had become one single living thing sharing the same life. Eventually, the teapot became so fragile that it could barely stand. The roots of the plant had grown very thick and strong. The plant was now a large and beautiful bush. The teapot knew that its time was coming to an end. But it felt no fear and no sadness, only a deep peace. One very windy autumn day, the final pieces of the teapot gently fell apart. The porcelain shattered into tiny white fragments on the garden path. The teapot was completely gone. But the large, beautiful bush remained standing tall and strong. The teapot had given all its strength to help the lovely plant survive. The little white fragments of porcelain mixed into the garden soil. They sparkled like tiny stars in the dark earth. The mother and daughter walked by and saw the large bush. "The teapot did its job perfectly," the mother said. "It gave its whole life to this beautiful plant. It was a wonderful teapot." The story of the proud teapot teaches us many valuable lessons. It is a story about pride and humility. It is a story about facing difficult changes. Most importantly, it is a story about finding new purpose when we feel broken. Let us explore these wonderful English lessons together and learn from the teapot. At the beginning of our story, the teapot was very proud. It boasted about its beauty and its important job. To boast means to talk with too much pride about yourself. The teapot thought it was better than everyone else. This kind of pride often makes us blind to our own faults and flaws. The teapot also had a secret flaw. A flaw is an imperfection or a weakness. The teapot had a chipped lid, but it tried to hide it. We all have flaws and imperfections. It is normal to have flaws. We do not need to hide them or pretend that we are completely perfect all the time. When the teapot fell and broke, it felt like a complete disaster. A disaster is a sudden event that causes great damage or sadness. The teapot lost its handle and its spout. It lost its job as the queen of the tea table. It felt useless and ashamed. Change can be very painful and scary. But the broken teapot experienced a beautiful transformation. A transformation is a complete change in someone or something. The lady turned the broken teapot into a flower pot. She gave it a brand new purpose. A purpose is the reason why something exists. The teapot found a new reason to live and be happy. As a flower pot, the teapot learned humility. Humility is the quality of not thinking you are better than other people. The teapot stopped boasting. It became friends with the plain clay pots. It focused on caring for the little plant instead of caring about its own beauty. Humility brought the teapot true peace. The teapot also learned about the cycle of nature. It felt the sun and the rain. It watched the bees and the butterflies. It realized that being part of the living world was much better than sitting on a silver tray. Nature teaches us to be patient and to accept the changes in life. Let us practice some useful English words from our story. The first word is porcelain. Porcelain is a hard white substance used to make delicate cups and plates. The teapot was made of fine porcelain. Can you say porcelain? It is a beautiful word for a beautiful material. Practice saying it out loud today. Our next word is arrogant. Arrogant means believing you are better or more important than other people. The teapot was very arrogant at the beginning of the story. It is not good to be arrogant. It is much better to be kind and humble. Remember to always treat others with respect and gentle kindness. Another great word is fragile. Fragile means easily broken or damaged. The delicate porcelain teapot was very fragile. When it hit the hard floor, it shattered into pieces. Sometimes our feelings can be fragile too. That is why we must use kind words and be careful with the feelings of our friends and family. Let us look at the word purpose again. Purpose is your goal or your reason for doing something. When the teapot broke, it lost its original purpose. But it found a new purpose in the garden. If you ever feel lost, remember that you can always find a new purpose and a new path. The phrase complete disaster is very useful. We use it when everything goes wrong. The teapot falling was a complete disaster. But remember that disasters can lead to new beginnings. What seems like a terrible ending might just be the start of a wonderful new adventure. Always look for the hope in difficult times. Let us review the moral of our fairy tale. The moral is the lesson we learn from a story. The moral here is that breaking does not mean you are useless. Your flaws and your broken pieces make you unique. You can always grow and find a new beautiful way to help the world. Think about the beautiful purple flowers that grew from the broken teapot. Those flowers brought joy to the little girl and food to the bees. The teapot did more good as a broken flower pot than it ever did as a perfect teapot. Your kindness and your love are more important than being perfect. We hope you enjoyed this wonderful story about the proud teapot. Learning English through fairy tales is a fun and magical way to improve your vocabulary. You practiced listening, reading, and understanding deep meanings today. You should be very proud of your hard work and your dedication to learning a new language with us. Please remember to practice the new words we learned today. Use words like porcelain, arrogant, fragile, and purpose in your daily conversations. The more you practice, the better your English will become. Share this story with your friends and family so they can learn these wonderful English words and important life lessons too. Thank you so much for joining Fairy Tales English Journey today. If you loved the story of the teapot, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have many more beautiful fairy tales and English lessons waiting for you. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and always remember your unique purpose.